Peace. What wrong, my peoples? It's your boy, Sincere Seven, coming to you live and direct from the Psychonaut Academy of Detroit. The Pad, you know what I mean? Florida edition. At this current time of recording, I am laid back right outside Fort Lauderdale, Florida, enjoying everything that life has to offer me. Because a lot of times we get lost in the present instead of finding safety and love in the present. And, I quite often in my own thoughts forget that this is what safety feels like to me, right? My environment, this water around me, this nature, these people who have an obliviousness to themselves and their surroundings, and just things being as free as the wind and the water are, it gives me the ability to tap into my freedom. I don't know if y'all follow me from where I'm coming from, but that's basically how I feel in this environment. The whole expression of this environment insinuates freedom. From the hurricanes and the floods and the high winds to the beauty of the sun and the beaches and all of that, all of those things are free. That's free. That's expressing yourself in the most freest ways. The more inland you get, the more constructed things become. That's why they say that's where all the construction is. And construction is lack of freedom. This is how I feel personally. The more construction that's around, the less freedom that is there. The more freedom that is around, the more nature and natural vibratory energies are present. So anyway, what's that got to do with what we're going into to talk about today? I don't know. Maybe nothing. Maybe everything. Let's get into it and see. Philosophy. I've realized that I'm one of the great philosophers of our time, and so are you all who connect with me and speak with me and talk with me and share these different thought processes that we have around these different things. You all are also philosophers of our times, right? Because that's what we're doing, is the love of talking, right? We're talking about different discussions within our village and our community that we think about, that we go through, that affects us, and different ways to view these things and to alter and or include them into our daily thought processes and or lives, right? So I'm gonna let y'all know off rip. I'm double tapped in. I didn't microdose with a couple of them Jones today. So when I say that I'm tapped in already, I'm already tapped in. I did a live earlier today, um, speaking about, man, what was that one about? I don't know, but this one's gonna be great. Okay. So this, I was speaking in the one before. I was speaking about, are you before or ahead of your time, and what is deja vu? Okay. This video today is going to be speaking about spiritual security clearances. What are they? How do you get one of those? What do you do with that? What can I get into? I get in a Disney World half off with a spiritual security? No, right? So that's what today's talk is. And if you are following me on YouTube, um, you'll see the banner scrolling across the bottom. Let it be known that there will be cannabis utilized within this video. And if you're not following us on YouTube, I invite you to go in Psychonaut Academy of Detroit or The Pad on YouTube and subscribe to our channel so you can catch all our videos that we be doing. All right, so with that being said, let's get into today's talk. 4 minutes and 44 seconds in. Hell no. So today's talk is about spiritual security clearances. What are they? How do you get them? What are they used for? Right? So, of course, what are they? And honestly, I don't think that that's too hard for anybody listening to understand what they are. It's a security clearance that you can achieve and improve on within the spiritual realms. Now, before we even go deep on that, let's keep in mind that if you are not a spiritual practitioner or a spiritually inclined person, then this means absolutely nothing to you. And that's okay, because if you are not a spiritual practitioner or do not have spiritual practices in any type of way, then it doesn't matter, and you're not even aware of the realms of spirituality to even need a spiritual security clearance or to be able to witness those that have spiritual security clearances. Because as far as I'm concerned, if an individual does not have any type of spiritual security clearances, they should not be teaching you anything that's connected with or conducted within the spiritual realms. Bow, I said it. So, a spiritual security clearance is a state of awareness, if you will, that has been given to individuals of certain practices. Let me be clear when I say every spiritual security clearance is not created equally. There are minor security clearances, spiritual security clearances, and there are major spiritual security clearances. So, for instance, when I was in the military, you have what's called an MOS. I don't know what it stands for, but I call it your motor specialty. And so mine was a combat engineer. I did not need a security clearance. I was more along the lines of I was getting information, how do they say, on a need to know basis, right? So it's like where I'm at, all you need to tell me is what to do. I don't need to know what's going on. So I didn't have any security clearances. Now, there were individuals that had MOSs such as military intelligence or special investigative departments or things like this where their job caused them to have to go to places and look at information that was on a need to know basis. And so their jobs would give them what's called a security clearance. So when they, as a private or a specialist, go to this place and investigate and say, I need to see that information, it has nothing to do with their rank or who they are or what company they're in. It has to do with their position and what they do. And with that being said, they have clearance to this information. So that's an example of what security clearances are. For example, lawyers have certain amounts of security clearances. Doctors have certain amounts of security clearances. Insurance companies have certain amount of security clearances. So when you look at the HEPA, HPAA, I forgot what it stands for, but basically this is the company or the industry that makes sure that people who have access to your personal and medical information know who they can give it to and who they can't. Your personal medical information is private information. So when you go to sign up to get insurance, the insurance company has the security clearance to be able to look at your medical history. They're not going to tell you this. They're not going to discuss it with you. Just know if you've ever went to go get medical or life insurance, they are pulling out your medical records and looking at them. So they have a security clearance that supersedes HEPA. They can look at your medical shit. They don't know what diseases you got, what, all of that. So this is another example of security clearances. So an example of me having certain security clearances is that being a shaman in my community, let me explain to some of y'all who either are not familiar with, as I wasn't, the term shaman. And listen, Baba Kalende was my teacher and my friend. So every time I talk this, here comes somebody trying to tell me what they got and heard from somebody who got it from Baba Kalende. I understand the term shaman. I know where it comes from. I know where it originated. I know all of that. Trust me when I say I go and study things. And it's still me. I'm a person who I'm not scared of vocabulary and the power within it, because as a magician myself, I know where the power actually lies. So I use words for understandings to be given and achieved. So when I'm using communication, there's no magic in it. I am using words so you'll understand what I'm talking about. So now when I go to any country and I say shaman, they know what I'm talking about. I don't have to go into the breakdown. I don't care if it has a religious connotation or a racist connotation, and all the things that people be trying to do with words. My thing is, did you understand what I was talking about? Okay, well, that's the fuck I'm talking about, okay? So with that being said, let's get back to it. For those of y'all thought y'all was about to come teach me something about the word shaman, no need. Do you understand what a shaman is and what they do? All right, cool. We're going to use that word. So, when I first came upon my shamanistic abilities, I didn't even know what a shaman was. Let me be clear. All I knew is every time I take these mushrooms, I go into a realm of time and space. And I am witnessing, living, or being in the midst of my village, people in my village and their business. People in my village and why they're having miscarriages. People in my village and them and their mates arguing with each other. People in my village and murders going on with individual sons and me seeing them. Individuals in my village having their fathers come to them through me and talk about the reality of their mother that they call mother not really being their mother, and them being adopted, and the mother that they have now was the woman that the father was with at the time, and they died before they had the time to wait. What? All of this type of shit is what I see. So what I'm saying is this is other people's business. That was my first security clearance in the spiritual realm, the first one that I was aware of. And it was like, why am I seeing other people's business? And when I would share this with them, I would be answering these different things that they are not aware of, that they was wondering about, they was praying about, that they went to their altar about. 95% of my customers have altars that were created or utilized within 90 days of meeting me. I just wanted to put that out there. So the main and the number one way to meet me is in the magic realm or in the ancestral realm through the use of your altars. So I started explaining to people the things that I was seeing and, answering these questions and these spiritual growths and things that people were going through. And in one of these sessions, I was explaining to somebody something. They was like, damn, you be on some shaman shit. And I was like, some shamanship? And I thought they said shamanship. And I was like, what's the shamanship? Like a scholarship? And they was like, no, shaman shit. And I was like, what shaman shit? Like, you a shaman. I was like, what the fuck is the shaman? And they was like, you don't know what a shaman is? I'm like, nah. So I literally was a shaman before I even knew what it was, right? So I had to go back and study. They told me, yo, go look it up. You know how you study. And I'm like, yeah, all right. So I went and studied it. And then I was like, oh my goodness. Everything that was being explained, even down to how a shaman is prepared for his shamanistic works, it made everything make sense that I was going through that I didn't know. Now, why am I speaking about this? Because it takes us into the conversation into another type of security clearance that I did not have, but became aware of, which is genetic, spiritual, genetic security clearances. I was a first generation shaman. Okay, so this is by the works and who I was and what I did in my community for long enough. I earned the trust of the spiritual realm to be given these gifts. This is the way I'm understanding it after going through the studies and speaking to other individuals. Some individuals are through genetic makeup. So this is where you'll find the people who they're shamans, they aunties were shamans or witches or light workers or whatever. They grandmas was light workers. They great grandma, they come from a long lineage. So this is what we're talking about, lineage security clearances. Those are very special, and they're also easy to cancel out. And I shouldn't say easy, but what I mean is to disqualify yourself from. See, because a lot of the lineage security clearances are based off of your family lineage, but the application of them or the attainment of them comes from your practices. And that's what I have found when I speak about spiritual security clearances, they all come from your practices. And that's why I had to speak on the lineage security clearances, because yes, they are naturally yours. But if you out here and let's just say you was taken from your home, or you was kidnapped, or you was raised in other than the conditions you were in, and you are out here acting other than self. You are in savage acts. You are against the people. You are robbing, stealing, raping, killing. Your security clearances aren't just going to come on deck. What's going to happen is there's going to be a teacher that is going to make themselves known to you that will make it very clear that you have access to these security clearances and you need to clean yourself up to be able to utilize it. And should you do that, then those security clearances come on deck. If you don't, then they won't. So even though those security clearances, now let me be clear, some of the abilities might still come on deck. That's the abilities and the powers that we have are not synonymous with security clearances. Let me just be clear. There's people out here who have gifts and abilities and they don't have security clearances. And that's an important thing, because if they did have security clearances, they would be able to go into the different realms to exercise these powers in a fucked up way. So it's a bit of a balance that comes with a lot of this. Just like the Yiming Jews. A lot of people talk about and question me about Yiming Jews and how to get a Yiming Jew and how to attain a Yiming Jew. To attain a Yiming Jew is an honor. To activate a Yiming Jew is a quest. Okay? So it's the same thing when it comes to powers. To receive spiritual or magical powers is an honor, but to be able to activate them within the realms is a quest. And you need security, spiritual security clearances to be able to do that. So it's a lot of people. This is what I be meaning when I say the realms that I deal with and on the levels that I'm at, I'm not worried about anybody utilizing any type of terrestrial magic against me. There's levels to this shit, baby. There's levels to this shit, my baby. So you got magic, you got mystical arts, and then you got sorcery. Magic and magic is terrestrial. Mystical arts is right on the border, and sorcery is extraterrestrial. And the first territory that we get into when it's extraterrestrial is the ancestral. So, ancestral magic trumps natural or terrestrial magic. So, if you're talking about putting my name in a vinegar jar with a bunch of terrestrial ingredients, that's fine, sweetheart. But when I pass you through the realms of Defense Against the Dark Arts, which is a celestial magic, it trumps your magic. And these are the territories that we are looking at when we're talking about security clearances. You can have terrestrial security clearances. Most of our healers, that's what they have. Most of our healers that deal with plant medicine, animal medicine, fungi medicine, mineral medicine, and the medicine of man, which would be Reiki, meditation, prayer, sex magic, these different things, they have security clearances that are majority of the time terrestrial. Okay, so we as healers have the ability to tap into realms that are above what we would call the physical attention and abilities. However, they are what I will call limited to the terrestrial energies and vibratory patterns. Okay? So then the next security clearance would be the ancestral security clearances. Now, when you get into these types of security clearances, this is where you get into certain gifts, such as the ability to transcend time and space. So, one of my abilities before dealing with entheogens was the ability to go back or forward in time and to witness the expressions and experiences that take place in the present or in the past. This starts off in the ancestral realms. The ancestral realms, like this is why dealing with ancestors, you still have judgment within sexuality, within race, within identity. Identifying factors is because this is a realm where the time and space still matters. Matter, materialize. So even though it's a extraterrestrial, it's really on, it's what you would call, it's extraterrestrial because it's outside, to experience it is outside of the physical expression and experience. However, it is still within the realms of the terrestrial happenings. Are y'all following what I'm saying? The terrestrial happenings, meaning the things that happened within time and space. So, if you have ancestors who are tapped into the slave trade or the what is that the Jews, the Holocaust, right? Or these different atrocities that taken place hundreds to even thousands of years back. Let me be clear. If you are tapped into the ancestries of your people thousands of years back and have the information of the atrocities that was going on even then, this is where a lot of the ancestral energy, magic, and abilities are gifted and rooted in. So this is another security clearance that can be occupied or connected to, that will give us the ability to do things in this realm with the assistance of things in that realm. So that's the ancestral. Now, when you go past that and you go into what I call the cosmic realms, this is where you are dealing with the powers and the information and the knowledge of the celestial beings. Now, let me take a pause real quick and sip my water. Do you all know who I'm talking about when I speak of celestial beings? Excuse me. No. Not celestial. Cosmic beings. Celestial is the next level that we're going to talk about. No. Ancestral, cosmic. A security clearance that is above the ancestral clearance, tapped into the cosmic beings information realm. Who are the cosmic beings that I'm speaking of? Anybody know? So, again, we're talking about these spiritual security clearances, what they are, what levels they are, what can you do with them, what can you achieve with them, how can you lose them, all of these things. This is what we're talking about, right? Now, when it comes to the cosmic being realm and the cosmic security clearances, this is one of the most unaware of the realms that would be present. This is one of the realms that people are most unaware of. Okay? And this is the cosmic realm because a lot of people lose the understanding that the planet Earth in itself is an entity. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna walk off for a second. Take that in your thought process. The planet Earth in itself is. So, if the planet Earth within itself is an entity, right? I need y'all to follow me with this. That means there is an intelligence within it, okay, which I bear witness to, which I always teach about. And with this intelligence, she is being destroyed. She has information for us that we can tap into. She is yet one being within at least 9 within what we call our system, our personal solar system. The same system that our bodies are in tune with. Okay? So when you are aware of your magic, your mystical arts practice, and you start tapping into sorcery and you use the sources of the ancestral realms, and then understand that the ancestors were able to achieve missions on the planet Earth, which in the fractal realm would be the representation of us as a people, as one body, the planet Earth. So the planet Earth represents us in the celestial realm of existence. So, with this being said, there are other celestial bodies that if you have cosmic security clearances, cosmic spiritual security clearances, you can tap into the other planets' intelligence. And yes, I am saying Jupiter has an intelligence that you could tap into. Mars has an intelligence in the spirit that you could tap into. Pluto has an intelligence in the spirit that you can tap into. How do you get invited to sit at the cosmic table of intelligence? You're only invited into that realm and given a security clearance by the Earth herself. Now I'm gonna light my motherfucking blunt on that one. And it's windy out here, so it might take me a second, so bear with me. You are only invited to the the cosmic realm security clearance table of adversaries through personal invitation of the Earth herself. Now I'm gonna light my blunt. So the question is, how the hell you get a private invite from the earth to the cosmic realms roundtable? Easy. Become a powerful proponent of the earth. I am all about the saving of the planet earth, the the protection of the planet earth. When I'm talking about protecting the women and children in my community, one of the number one ways to do that is to protect the planet, because the community is on a continent, which is on the planet earth, which within herself is an entity. And when you gain a relationship with the planet earth herself, you get a security clearance within itself. And should you find yourself tapped in and tuned in and actually putting forth the works enough, she'll invite you to sit on that seat, in that seat of the cosmic bodies. So now when you meditate, now when you go in on your entheogens, you can tap into the intelligence of not just the earth, but of actually all of the other celestial bodies in the solar system. You can tap into your organs on a celestial, on a cosmic energy. You can tap into the different realms of your chakras on a cosmic energy, with a cosmic energy, with the cosmic magic. When we're doing these studies, what they call metaphysics, and explaining that different organs are in tune with different colors and different musical notes and different planets, this is so you can understand how things, what's the word? How things influence certain parts of you, right? But if it can influence you, can you not influence it? The influence is because the planet is aware of its existence within you and your realm, but are you aware of your existence within its realm? So once you open up and start a relationship with these planetary bodies as a whole, and let's be clear, don't go trying to get no relationship with Mars and Earth ain't even fucking with you yet. Remember what I said. You get an invite by the Earth herself. So, to be clear, once you get to those levels, the next level of spiritual security clearance that you can achieve, share this video if y'all watching it. And after you've shared it, press 7. I like to know who my supporters and sharers of my videos are. So, share this video, press 7. After you've achieved cosmic security clearances, the next level up, and now before I speak about the next level, let me be clear. Is it necessary to achieve the previous level of security clearance before gaining the next level? No, it's not. No. Some people go directly into ancestral security clearances and stop there. Some people go directly into what I'm speaking about next, which is celestial security clearances. Okay? Some people will go in order. Some people will only, peace God, Allah, I appreciate it. Some people will only deal with a certain security clearance, right? So, like, I'll tell you like this. When I first got knowledge of self, because I always let it be known, I'm still 5%. I'm still part of the knowledge, and I still deal with it. I just not am caught with the body as much, right? But I'm still representing, I'm more of the mind of the law now, right? Seen and heard everywhere. And so when I was first getting knowledge, it was discouraged to deal with any security clearances above self. So don't go into the ancestral realms of security clearances. Don't go into the celestial realms. Now, tapping into the cosmic realms was acceptable because we had our actual facts and our solar facts. So that was acceptable. But then when you got to celestial, oh, that definitely was a no no. And that was referred to as dealing with spooky things. And now I have a grand understanding. And so I don't mind dealing with any and all of these different realms. But you can, because I know individuals who will deal with the ancestral realms, because those are the spiritual realms that are still tapped into time and space as well as individuality. So when we speak of knowledge of self, we're speaking of the self in this representation on the planet, which means we have ancestors that we can honor, right? But when you go past that, it's like, hold on, don't go into that spooky shit. Now, I am not scared to deal with or worried about dealing with any of these realms, but this is why I'm explaining them in this, because a lot of people don't or aren't aware of this, or if they are, they're not teaching and informing. And so what you'll have is you'll have people who will hear certain things and will have a straight up, oh, here you go with that type of shit. And really, it's just a different level of something you might be dealing with. For instance, if you have religious people who deal with prayer or who deal with worship, and they'll say, in the name of Jesus Christ and God Almighty, they don't know that they're dealing with sorcery. And the source of power that they choose to use to invoke life within their realms is Jesus Christ and God. That's the source that they're tapping into. They might be happy with that. They might not be aware that their ancestral realm is another source. They might not be aware that celestial realms is another source. Those of us who do magic and practice magic, we might have a altar for the Jade Emperor. And an individual walk in their house and say, who is this Asian guy on your altar? You're not Asian. And I'm going, when you get into the celestial security clearances, race is not a proponent of whether these things will be shared or not. Acknowledgement and respect is. Ancestrally, there are certain things that I might invite or not invite a certain individual to. You don't even have the same type of genetic makeup of me, so an ancestral celebration might not be something that I invite you to. But if you come to something that we are doing that is dealing with the celestial realms, such as the magic of the Jade Emperor, you will see black people, white people, Asian people, Indian people, uh, red dot, not maybe even feathered, right? And it doesn't matter, because when you're dealing with the celestial realms, we have now left the realms of terrestrial. That's why I said the ancestral realm is the last of the realms that are terrestrial in Earth. So when you're getting outside of the Earth energy, race is out. Race identity is outside of the earthly realm, terrestrial realms. That's why people who deal with altar work and ancestral magic, I understand racism being a part of the things that they say and do. They'll say things to be disrespectful to white people and to disrespect white culture. And it's almost as if their lives are controlled by white individuals, because they're going to do everything in their culture to make sure that they're against and hatred for and remembrance of what the white people did. This is what you'll find a lot in ancestral magic. I'm not knocking, and I'm not in promotion of. I'm explaining things that other people sometimes fail to explain. Now, if you feel like I'm telling something that ain't right, stop me when I'm lying. If you think you're more qualified to speak on these things, go ahead. Earlier today, I had somebody that said, let me come in on the live. I don't ask why. I invite you in. So if you think that you can come on this live and tell me I'm wrong, I would love to hear it. And I mean that sincerely. Anything that I'm saying, if anybody out there thinks that they are more qualified to speak on this and is saying that I'm saying things wrong, I would love to hear it. Now, with that being said, so this is why when I spoke earlier about not being part of traditional magic or traditional religions, and we talk about the Orishas and the, all the different Orishas and all of this, right? There are some that I recognize and quite honestly, quite often find myself moving in the energy of and with the assistance of. But that's because my security clearances go through all of these different realms. So what I'm saying is I can deal with some ancestral work, but I'm not limited to it. Theology of how I operate is not constricted within certain realms. Some people can't tap into other magic because all they deal with is ancestral magic and their expression is rooted in racism or hatred of another race or the focus of what another race has done in history. That to me, that magic, ancestral magic, is powerful in the realms of terrestrial works. So if you're dealing with what they call generational curses, then ancestral magic is beautiful for those things. But when you are, if you have followed through a certain path of knowledge of self, knowledge of these realms, and repairing and healing work, there should be a point in time where once you've done all the ancestral works that you've done, you're not constricted by race, religion, sexuality, all of these different isms that are abundant and apparent in ancestral realms and ancestral magic. So I invite you all that are being constricted and constrained within, like I used to tell rappers, I'm a poet. I'm a spoken word artist. So with that being said, I feel like rappers are slaves to the beats. So what I'm saying is I'll get on a rapper's beat and I'll drop some heavy bars, but I'm not constricted to the beat. I'll do some shit that don't got no beat to it. And ancestral magic has a beat to it that is solidified and empowered through racial encounters and history. Period, point blank. Again, if I'm wrong, come on and tell me. So with that being said, it's a limited magic. And once you solidify and solve the atrocities that have happened to you within your ancestral realms and the atrocities that your ancestors have put upon others, then you can move out of the ancestral realm and the terrestrial realm into higher security clearances. And I would invite you to start off with the cosmic and getting a relationship with the earth as well as the planets and understanding the energies of good and evil within that realm. So therefore, when you get into looking for trying to get security clearances in the celestial realms, you have some history of understanding of the celestial bodies. Why is this important? If you don't know, I invite you to watch Doctor Strange. A lot of us that get into different practices, sometimes we try to rush through them. Doctor Strange in the movie, that was the way of letting people know you all are out here trying to achieve grand acts and grand works and find yourselves in the midst of grand people that do grand things, but understand that there are grandfathers to this magic and all of them are not good. All of them are not for the betterment of, all of them are not for love, all of them are not assisting you. Some of them are trying to use your ignorance against you. Some of them are trying to use their magic against you. So you need to have a firm grasp understanding of these realms before you start getting into certain things. And that's why I tell people, get an understanding of magic and mystical arts before you start dealing with sorcery. If you don't remember, back in the 90s and 2000s, the boy DMX came out with a song. And every album, he had a continuation of the song. And the song, I believe, was about Damien or something. It was something like that. And he would be rapping about this individual that came and assisted him when he was going through hard times. And then at some point, this individual that thought was a benevolent friend was like, nah, give me what you owe me. Your soul is mine. And it was like he was understanding and he was giving his expression through the music of these different realms that when you get into different practices, such as Hollywood and the music industry, and where now these individuals who have higher security clearances and higher financial rankings are able to deal with higher forms of magic, because for those who don't know, magic is expensive. And the stronger and the more powerful the magic, the more expensive that it is. And it's not always speaking financially. Okay. So when you get into dealing with benevolent spirits and energies and tapping into going into these realms where you can tap into these light and dark forces, then, well, there you have it. Do you know who you rolling with? Because if you are not real good of a judge of character in the terrestrial, like if you're one of them people that found yourself hanging out with people and then later on started to realize, oh shit, I'm around some people I should not be around. And it looked cool at first, but now I'm realizing that these people are not good people. I need to get the fuck up. Then don't start going and dealing with sorcery, because you're going to fuck around. Listen, if you don't know your streets in the terrestrial realms, don't go hopping into extraterrestrial vehicles with extraterrestrial entities, because you don't even know your terrestrial realms and can fuck around and deal with some negative forces or find yourself in the midst of things. So to find yourself now dealing with extraterrestrial shit in a powerful realm that you don't know about, this is bad for business. It's where you get people who start to deal with magic and these security clearances and find them. Hey, listen, matter of fact, I got a beautiful realm of TV show for you to watch that will give you a listen. As a magician, this is the greatest depiction of magic that I've ever seen as a magician. A lot of shit be like, man, these motherfuckers just be making a mockery and making our shit look stupid. Watch a show on Netflix called The Magicians. Oh my God. That is a perfect example of a depiction that's trying to give you the understanding of what you're dealing with. Almost everything in that show, I respect the way that they put it forward. And they do a very good job of teaching about people dealing with magic and then mystical arts and jumping dead off into sorcery and not understanding the source that the magic they're dealing with is coming from. Okay? And this is why when you deal with Christians and Christianity, I'm not against it and I understand the power of it, because those who are dealing with it from a sorcery aspect as opposed to a religious aspect, I'm like, oh shit. Nah, they know what they doing. Shit, yeah. I'm gonna tell you like this. Christians are some of the coldest sorcerers on this motherfucking planet. Sleep on them if you want to. Sleep on them if you want to. Not religious Christians. No. Sorcerers. Okay, hold on. We got a comment. Here we go. It says Facebook user, so it don't say the name. I hate when it does that, but fuck it. I can't give you a shout out because it's not letting me know who you are. So I have heard in a book called Consorting with Spirits that unless you have cultivated a relationship with a deity or spirit, which means you have either been initiated or called, or literally had a visitation, contrary to what you believe, you may not be able to request their protection services or otherwise in dealing with other negative entities. Is that true? And I will say, from my teachings and my experiences, that is absolutely facts. Absolutely. And not only is it facts, it's really what I'm trying to explain right now. And this is why I said you can come into contact with gifts and powers and not have a security clearance. Be careful, because you could be being set up to be used for fucked up things. Flat out, period, and point blank. This is why I have such a large emotional response when you hear me talk about medicine workers in our community that have just become aware of the medicine in the last year or two and have started teaching. It's not that I'm jealous, because I'm not. It's that I'm worried about our community as well as these workers, because it's clear that you don't have a relationship with the spiritual technology that you are working with. So what happens is, I tell people these modalities can be used to tap into the spiritual realm, but that doesn't mean that every time you tap into something spiritual that it is benevolent. Let's be clear. Oh, I use mushrooms, I tap into the spiritual realms. Yeah, you can do that and tap into some negative spiritual realms. And so if you don't have a relationship or a spiritual security clearance that comes through practices and acknowledgement, what can happen is you can tap into spiritual realms that will give you gifts and abilities where you are thinking the whole time, oh shit, I'm on point. And it will take you knee deep into something, but by the time you realize what the fuck you're doing, it's too late. And that's where the caution comes in. And I feel that not enough people have a relationship with mycelium. They just have a love for the magic that comes from the mushrooms. Let's be clear. Mushrooms are the sexual organ of mycelium. A lot of y'all are dickmatized or pussy whipped from the entity mycelium. You have had sex magic with this entity, and you are turned out on the magic that he and she provides. But you don't got no relationship with the mycelium. Get the fuck out of here. You ain't got no relationship with the mycelium. You have conducted sex magic, and you're turned the fuck out by the mushroom. I've had sex magic with people before. And what I don't do now is I don't have sex magic with individuals who don't have a certain understanding of magic within itself in the realms that the power that sex magic opens up. Because once you are done with sex magic, there'll never be a, oh, what you did to me that night, I want to have sex again. What the fuck are you talking about? I didn't do nothing to you that night. We conducted a magical spell. This had nothing to do with my attraction to you, your attraction to me, or anything sexually that we had. We agreed to conduct sex magic. Same thing. We don't have a relationship. She's not turned out by me. She don't want to make love to me again. She ain't never made love to me to begin with. And if you don't understand the difference in sex magic and the magic that happens in sex, then it's easy for you to not understand the relationship with mycelium and the love for the magic of the mushroom. Those are two different things. And a lot of people are operating under one thing, and people think that are operating from another. So I invite you to look into this, to really dig deep, because this is where security clearances come from. Because anybody can go into the multiverse on mushrooms and do things. That does not mean that you have a security clearance. So when I tell people I am a transdimensional travel agent, a spiritual tour guide, and a harm reduction specialist, all of those are because I have proper security clearances, mommy. Yeah, Poppy. I got security clearances in these realms. You can't do the magical healing spells that I do because you're not tapped into the dragon realms like I am. You can use Cambo, but you can't use it the way I use it because you're not tapped into the realms that I'm tapped into. You can do snake venom healing, but you can't do it the way I do it because you're not tapped into the realms and have the serpent security clearances. That's not a bad thing. It's just an understanding that people need to have, that these security clearances come with relationships that you have, first and foremost, with these industries, I'll call it. And once you have a relationship with them, you start in their practices, not your practices, in their practices. And when they see that you are practicing within their practices and you are paying homage and you are showing honor, love, and respect, then they will vote on you. And if they all agree, they will bless you with a security clearance on their level. So you can have many and multiple spiritual security clearances. And you may just have a couple. There are individuals that have some of the coldest motherfucking ancestral security clearances, and they magic goes back generations upon generations upon generations. And you ain't fucking with them in them realms. But they ain't got no celestial security clearances. And that's all right with them. These are some of like the Ephi priests. Some of them, they don't deal with no cosmic or celestial type of shit. They like ancestral, bow. You know, some individuals that deal with celestial sorceries don't touch ancestral magic at all. It's not a one is better than the other. You know, me being who I am, my life path number is 7. So when I started to become aware of the magic within all of these different realms, the first thing that I wanted to do was realize how many damn realms is there. This is why I'm a part of social security clearances. Social security clearances, what do you mean? That means, yeah, I'm a Mason. Yeah, I'm a Rosicrucian. Yeah, I'm a member of a star. Yo, that social security clearances. Security clearances that you get from societies of men or groups of individuals based off your practices, based off of whatever they base it off of, to where you get another security clearance, so you get another form or realm of information to learn, of information to study, right? And some of these practices will assist you in gaining spiritual security clearances. Oh, huh. Imagine that. So y'all can run around and talk about all you want about Illuminati and secret societies and spread the ignorance that you've heard from individuals who have absolutely no experience with in any of these realms. Me, I'm gonna speak as an experienced individual in all of these realms. You want to know what I learned? Hit me up for a consultation. But I'll tell you this, I am a holder of many, many security clearances, socially as well as spiritually. are these security clearances used for? Because we just spoke for an hour on what they are, the different levels of, and how to achieve, right? And like we spoke on how to achieve briefly, because they're all different. But the achievement of them is through acknowledgement, the respect, and the practice of. That's that part. Okay, well, once you get them, what can they be used for? My answer to that is the same thing that the social security clearances are used for: community, brotherhood, fellowship, coming together as under a common cause. What is the common cause? It depends on whichever security clearance we're dealing with. Some of them is to make good men better men. Some of them is to make good men extraordinary men or women. Some of them is to take initiations to our people. Some of them are to save the planet. Some of them are to save our universe from benevolent or dealing with benevolent energies and things of this nature, right? So that again depends on the security clearance that you're dealing with, right? But they're used, one, for identification and access. So when you have a certain security clearance, you are identified and have access. My Yiming Jews will open doors that other people cannot walk into. Just off the strength of me having them on. When I approach, there is no, hey, wait a minute, let me see. Oh, nah, I'm walking right past security. Period. Right? Dealing with the realms of what we call the multiverse. A lot of people talk about these different dosages of high gram mushrooms that they're doing. Let me be clear, that doesn't impress me. I'm not one of those. Even though I come from the school of high gram dosage, Baba Kalinde, Baba Mudu, the Tamir, all of that. I'm a student of, and I'm one of those people. Like I start off on 7 grams. Everybody in the Psychonaut Academy of Detroit starts off on 7 grams, regardless of your age, your weight, your sex, your height, none of that, right? So, but we are more about your security clearances and what you're able to bring into these realms and bring back from these realms, because that's what makes the difference is your security clearance. So you can tell me you took 30 grams. That's not impressive to me. If that you went in on 30 grams and you got there and they was like, you ain't got no security clearance, so you're not coming in here, but you can hang out in the lobby and see things and hear things and go through things and think about your life and then come back. Because that's all the fuck you just did. If you ain't got no security clearance, 30 grams ain't shit to you. You ain't got a security clearance until I went to the White House. I seen all the secrets because I went to the White House. No, the fuck you didn't. You went to the White House, and it was like, you got an ID, and it was like, yeah, like, are you on the list? And it was like, nah. And it was like, all right, enjoy standing outside the gates. And then you took pictures in front of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. You ain't been here. You don't do shit here. You don't have no reason to be here. So you can go all the way to Washington, D.C. and the White House. You can take 30 grams. That don't mean you seen shit, because you don't have a security clearance, because you have not been in the practices long enough. If you've done 30 grams and you have not done at least 20 trips, then you are an individual trying to get in to where security clearances are needed and you don't have one. It's okay. Gain a relationship with that realm. Gain a relationship with that medicine. Hold on. Let me tell y'all, another way to get security clearances is by recognition from other realms. So, I started off as a cannabis grower. And as I got into growing cannabis and learning what I was doing, my attention to the lack of nature within what I was doing. I'm mixing all these chemicals together and then putting them on this root zone to force feed these plants, these plant growth regulators, right? And these chemicals that are forcing the plant to look, smell, and grow in a certain way. And then I'm smoking this all day. This is chemical warfare against myself. So I knew a change had to be made. And I started growing 100% organically. Let me tell y'all, when I started growing 100% organically and I grew my first crop and I smoked that weed, it was the first time I ever smoked true weed. Let me tell y'all, the high, as y'all call it, from the GMO grown weed that all of you all are smoking, if you smoke cannabis, will never compare to the natural attunement that you get from smoking 100% organic cannabis. The actual plants started talking and communicating with me. This was the first connection that I had with plant medicine that I became aware of, because I'm not high. I am tapped and tuned in to another energy source that I once was not aware of. And I'm hearing it and communicating with it. And it's as plain as I would be sitting on this balcony talking with somebody sitting next to me. I don't have to doubt the conversation I just had with you. And that was how the cannabis started communicating with me. And I thought I was crazy at first until I took the mushrooms. Once I got introduced to the mushrooms. Now, how did I get introduced to the mushrooms? The cannabis referred me to the fungi kingdom. The cannabis referred me through to the fungi kingdom through Baba Kalinde. Mudu told me, Baba Mudu, that Baba Kalinde spoke to him and said, if Seven can grow that cannabis, like this was like 15 years ago, if Seven can grow that cannabis like that, then he can grow these mushrooms like that. And I was told that he said, Baba Kalinde said, that if the gods are walking around calling themselves gods, it's in theory until they actually utilize this sacred medicine. And from that point, he brought the mushrooms, the sacred fungi, to us in Detroit, to the gods, and we started utilizing it. And it set me on my path because it gave me the understanding of why I'm hearing my plants in the garden talk to me. It's letting me know I'm not crazy. You onto something. And so from that point on, I knew it was my relationship with these things that is how you conduct yourselves and start to receive the gifts that they have for us. So you don't just use them and they give you gifts. No, you have to have relationships with them. And in those relationships, they start to tell you your lineages, your rites of passages, your initiations. They start to show them to you, to take you through them, to where there is no doubt anymore because you know where these things are coming from. They start to introduce you to your next teachers. And these security clearances start to grow. So I have security clearances in the fungi kingdom, in the animal kingdom, in the plant kingdom, in the kingdom of man, in the ancestral realms, in the Akashic records, in the cosmic realms, as well as the celestial realms. And the Akashic records would be the first realm of security clearance that you would have access to outside of the terrestrial and ancestral. The Akashic records would be the first thing that you would have access to, that you would have allowance to see, to witness, to experience, to read. And I got that security clearance through meditation, not entheogens. A lot of the security clearances, that's another thing. Like, before you jump in on these entheogens, understand that you are going to be more respected if you gain these security clearances before you jump into these entheogenic realms. Let them recognize you by your works before you jump in to into an interdimensional hole and pop up on some like, oh, here I go. Here you go. The fuck you doing here? Why are you here? You've not even paid homage to. You've not even paid prayer. You've not even meditated and came here on some astral travel shit. You just jumped in through some entheogenic usage and think that now you're going to be given the access to the, no, you're not. You can wait in the waiting room. See these horseshoes and unicorns and pretty waterfalls while you wait. See some fractals, experience something beautiful, and go on back home. If you are going in on these deep journeys and you're not bringing information back, you're not bringing things that is assisting you in your life, assisting the planet to better the planet Earth or the people around you, you have not yet found the right relationship. Don't get turned out and digmatized and pussy whipped on the experiences that these entheogens and that the magic offers. Gain a relationship. So, if there's no questions, comments, or concerns, I'll ask you again. If there are, go ahead and let me know now. Like, what's your questions, comment, or concern? But other than that, I'll request that you share this video. I request that you go and catch us on YouTube and subscribe to the Psychonaut Academy of Detroit, or the PAD. And, give us a thumbs up if you like some of the videos. Let's start some engagement. And other than that, I ask that you tell somebody today that you love them in the language that they can understand. Thank you. I love y'all, and peace.